The calm, quiet haze across most parts of the country has been unsettled in the last week since the ruling National Resistance Movement kicked off its internal party campaigns. From the north to east to the west to central, the spectre of violence that has marred the NRM party campaigns less than 6 months to the next parliamentary elections offers a glimpse into what lies ahead. During the first elections under the National Resistance Movement in 1996, there were 900 elective positions from presidential to local government. Today, there are an estimated 3.3 million elective positions across 146 districts, underscoring how competitive elective politics has become and, in fact, a do or die. On the other hand, political service is no longer about service. It is just good business, which perhaps explains the stampede by aspirants. If the turmoil of the last 2021 general elections is anything to go by, then the writing is on the wall. The most obvious reason for the stampede, several pundits say, is the money factor, some of which is earned through dubious activities.
Basically, is the art and the science of management of society. It's an art and science of managing society. So it's a responsibility. It's a service delivery of itself.
However, political scholars are quick to rule out as wishful thinking that politics is meant for service delivery.
That has long died in many areas. I want to assure you without fear of contradiction. There are a few members of parliament who still represent their people well. But there are many MPs who, after being elected and they have spent colossal sums of money, all they do is to find out how to recover the money they have lost.
Both Bainomujisha and Dombo concur that the greed and the need to quick self-enrichment is the main cause of why politics has become a do or die. Such was the case on 7th July during the nationwide parish youth elections, where flexing of muscles was the order of the day in some polling stations. The bad political manners have led to extensive destruction of property and loss of life in the ongoing National Resistance Movement campaigns for the party flag.
We have experienced some difficulties in some areas. The first one is Isingiro South. Isingiro South, there was a bit of altercation and spilling of blood.
A section of the opposition members say the displayed violence is the preferred modus operandi by the ruling National Resistance Movement, having captured state power by the same means after a protracted 5-year guerrilla war.
The country is suffering from the longevity of violence. This government was ushered in through violence, and this has somehow overlapped their internal workings and external workings, leading to violence in whatever they are involved in. You will see violence in everything because they have defined themselves as the masters of violence.
However, NRM disapproves the use of violence. Also, the party distances itself from terror security agencies have unleashed on the electorate as political parties jostle for numbers.
NRM countered violence with violence. Because NRM to go to the bush, there was violence. And there was no way to deal with that violence unless you create an equilibrium. But right now there is democracy. People must use a microphone. People must talk to the population. There is a constitution to be followed. And there are rules. Why would somebody incite violence when there is freedom not to use violence?
Political scholars are critical of the adopted mode of politics on the African continent, where money has become the compass to electoral office, and if it is inapplicable, the alternative is violence.
While in other countries, in consolidated democracies, especially Western democracies, they struggle to serve people and not to make money. In any case, there is no money that actually you are going there to pick.
The next paying job in the land should be professionals, doctors, engineers, lawyers, name it, you know, ICT specialists. But in our country, the highest paying job is being an MP. And the investment where you are sure to get your gains without any loss is politics. That's why it's a do or die.
Being an MP in Uganda comes with a hefty salary and other additional perks, according to information obtained from the Parliamentary Commission. Each member of parliament is entitled to a monthly salary of 25 million shillings, a one-off vehicle allowance of 200 million shillings, a subsistence allowance of 4.5 million per month, a town running allowance of 1 million shillings per month, medical allowance of 500,000 shillings per month, sitting allowance of 50,000 shillings for committee meetings, and plenary sitting allowance of 150,000, as well as mileage allowance.
What is happening now is that the sitting regime, NRM, has created a very dangerous image to the public that politics is about earning money. And they have created employment as in politics. That's why you have elderly people representing elderly in parliament but doing nothing. That's why you have 10 UPDF soldiers sitting in parliament but doing nothing.
The legislative arm of the government is authorized under the law to determine the salaries of the members of parliament.
I don't know whether because of the enhanced remuneration of members of parliament is creating violence in the population, especially amongst young people who do not have jobs, and the only hope they have is to mobilize the population to support them in any way possible to have them elected. That is something we need to find out. If we find that is the case, then Parliament may need to review itself.
When Parliament gets all those allowances, there are certain services that are being foregone. And so that is why that motivation to make money is ill-conceived, and my advice to people should be that you go to Parliament to serve your people because you have seen a need.
While an excuse has been put up about the unemployed youth seeking jobs in politics for being the excuse of violence in elections, it is mind-boggling that the fight is extreme when the well-to-do are involved.
It tells you that when you get money, you never require more money. Money is like a wine. The more you take it, the more you want to have more. That's why the corrupt have become more corrupt. All the thieves, others who have stolen, they are killed stealing more. So money in itself, it's difficult somebody to have enough, especially if it is acquired through rudimentary means.
Look at those who wield power and can cause mayhem are the ones who still want to impose themselves on the people. And as a result of that, the people have refused. Just like you see the presidency, the people have so long ago moved away from him, but because of violence, wielding state power, that is why their existentiality still manifests, and it manifests with violence out of greed to stay in.
The pundits blame the substitution of responsibilities, where some MPs have to dig deep into their pockets to fend for the needs of the constituents in driving the already bad situation to the worst. They cite this for being the reason politicians dip their hands into the public purse, which motivates the fight by those seeking jobs. In 2024, the police arrested and arraigned in court 5 members of parliament who were charged with cases of corruption related to suspected tinkering with the budget for self-aggrandizement and the diversion of the funds for cooperatives.
We have seen MPs being bribed to enact laws, the latest being 100 million for the UPDF Amendment Act. So they calculate a number of things, legal and illegal payments, including corruption. So that's how they reap back their money.
The pundits say the lower political offices, like the village councils, whose bearers receive 10,000 shillings in monthly remuneration, are neither spared from the heated contestations. They point at indirect inducements, some of which border on criminality.
For example, you know that there has been a lot of corruption at the local government level, especially District Service Commission, where jobs are being sold, where their tenders, their all this. So they can make money through tenders, through selling jobs.
A suggested cure to the do-or-die politics involves the downward review of the salaries of politicians to make the job less appealing, walk the talk on corruption fight, which is a motivation for the deadly fight for political positions. Also, civil society organizations have endlessly advocated for the enactment of laws to regulate and restrict campaign spending with the view of ensuring that those that get into office have little appetite and motivation to illegally compensate themselves out of the public purse. Jackson Onyango, NTV.
This candidate has already